So we'll start the class. We're starting complex analysis. So in complex analysis, before going to the major theorems of the engineering mathematics, first we'll cover some basics of complex analysis. Means you can say complex numbers and functions. First we'll go for the very basic, because for many students this chapter can be very new, very fresh. So let's understand first of all what is complex number. So complex number, whenever any number is written like 4 plus 3i, like this. If a number is written like 4 plus 3i, sometimes we write 4 plus j3 also. Sometimes we write, sometimes like this I and j, they represent but full form of I is iota. This iota represent under root minus 1. But sometimes in electrical engineering, because I represents current, so there we represent this by j value, so that just to avoid the confusion. Even though this j is also representing current density, but it's okay, current density is rare part. So this 4 plus 3i, so in this I have chosen plus 1, but basically any complex number we represent with z, and it can be given as x plus iy, minus sign also can be there. So now this part of the entire number is known as imaginary part of the number, imaginary part, and this part of the number is known as real part of the number. And the total, because this total is not a simple number, it is not a real number, right? Now it is the combination of both. So combination of both, that's why we say the total number from here to here as complex number, right? Complex number. So now in this complex number, you see, if you want to draw the complex number, then we need a standard plane for this. Like we have xy plane, in same way we choose another plane where you will be having two axes. On one axis you will represent your imaginary number, and on other axis you will represent your real number. So this axis, this plane what you are seeing here, we call as Argand plane. So suppose you are here and here, it means you are 2i, and if you are suppose here, here and here, this time this coordinate will be 3. So for this number you will be reaching here, and for this number will be reaching here. So here this coordinate, when you will go for, it will be 3 comma 2i. Okay, sorry, I am actually explaining totally in different way. It is like your x-axis will be that side and y-axis will be that side. I mean, I hope you understand what I'm saying. This by mistake I have taken imaginary here. You put your imaginary number here, and you put your real number here. So you just put this as 3, and you put this as 2i. Okay, you remove one part. Okay, so this is 3 comma 2i. So that 3 comma 2i is going to be your coordinate of the point. Now when you will join this point with the origin like this, so when you are joining like this, then it will represent a kind of length, right? So this length you will represent as z, and this z value we give as 3 plus 2i. Now in this z you have two things to bother. One thing, what is the length of this number? So that length you will call as r, and this r is nothing but mod of z, or you say modulus of z, right? And another thing is the theta. The theta is nothing but from this thing how much your theta you have, so that theta. So anyway, so when you are representing a complex number on any kind of plane, then that plane we call as Argand plane. Argand plane. Pronunciation can be different by different people, so you can say as Argand's plane. Actually you can say apostrophe s also, Argand's plane. Okay, so this, you understand what is this r, and what is this mod of z, what is this x, what is this y. So and what is this theta. So when you want to find out the theta, then you can see here you have a triangle here, you will be getting a triangle here. So you just get the triangle here like this. So this is your theta, and this length is nothing but your 2i, and this length is nothing but your 3. But because if you are bothering for theta, then you will not bother this 2i, because theta is a geometrical part, and geometry means you only have to bother the length. So that length is of 2 unit, and here length is 3 unit. So you just apply tan theta concept and you can find out. So that is nothing but you just apply 2 by 3 and then you can find out your theta value as tan inverse 2 by 3. So right now what you are seeing, this became your theta value. It means what? This point will be having location with respect to real axis. Okay, now I will tell you. See, suppose you are thinking something in xy plane and you want to think the same thing in imaginary plane and real plane, and this imaginary plane and real plane, if I am giving any coordinate here, sometimes student says this is x-axis and this is y-axis. No, you should not say like that. Actually, complex number we don't discuss on xy. Complex number we discuss for real and imaginary axis. Okay, don't make yourself weak. Weak in the sense, xy system having a different idea. Real system, sometimes students conflict with, okay, this is x-axis, this is y-axis. No, it is not at all. It is a completely real axis. Some numbers will come here and some numbers will come here. Based on that, you will decide the coordinate of this point. For example, if I'll say that this coordinate is 3 and 3i, so you will be clear, okay, on the real axis you have to go 3 unit, and on the imaginary axis also you have to go 3 unit. So you will be reaching here. So if you will connect from the origin like this, then this total length either you will call as mod of z, or you say r. Okay, if you are writing z is equal to x plus iy kind of format, then this kind of format you will say rectangular, or you say Cartesian form, But if the same z I want to write as a function of r and theta, then I will say polar form. So we will learn how will you convert r and how will you convert theta. So for that purpose, we need a common diagram in which I can represent xy parts also and r theta parts also to show the idea. So what I'm going to do here, in the first diagram, I'm going to write here real axis and here imaginary axis. Now on the common platform, I'm choosing a point this. So if you go like this, then I will say, okay, z number is z x plus iy. Okay, but at the same time I will say that this total length is r also. Okay, now this point will be having a particular angle theta. So because of that theta, if I will go for the, you understand, if I'll go for the component division, so this total component division will be how much? As per r value. So that will be r cos theta. Okay, and this will be r sin theta. Okay, so height wise if you check, then height wise it is coming r sin theta. But this r sin theta is the height lying on imaginary axis. So this coordinate I can either give in terms of xy, which is x comma iy, or I can give like you can see r cos theta is on x-axis and r sin theta is on y-axis. Okay, so I can write z value like this also, r, and take r common, cos theta plus I sin theta. So this is how you can represent your Cartesian form complex number into polar form complex number. Now one more small change is there. That small change you can guess. E power I theta is having a formula. This is e power I theta. Can someone recall what is e power I theta formula? Anyone? Can anyone recall e power I theta formula? Just give a try. Okay, so can I, yes, you're right. So I can replace this total as r e power I theta, right? So now you see here in this r e power I theta, what is r? R is the length of this between these 2 points. You get my point. What is r? R is the length. The same r is we are representing as mod of z. So when you have mod of z, then that will represent the length of this line. Okay, and what is theta here? Theta will represent, okay, from the x-axis how much angle you have. Okay, so now I'll change the page. So see here, if you have any plane and here you have real number and here you have imaginary number, on this plane, if you have any point and you want to get the location of the point, then you have two approaches. Either you go for I am looking for the location of this point, then either you go for Cartesian or rectangular form, or you go for polar form. So if you are going for polar form, then you should know that from this origin in which direction you have to go, okay, and how long you have to go. So this much long you have to go, but then you will be finding out the location. So this is how we will discuss polar. Like in this direction you have to go at this much angle, and at this much long you have to go. That will be location. In same way, if you have to go for Cartesian or rectangular form, then on real axis how much you have to go, and on imaginary axis how much you have to go. This is always imaginary, this is always real. Okay. Now suppose these are the basics about any complex number. Now if any complex number is given, then what are the things we should do with the complex number? We should know how to convert that complex number into polar form. If two complex numbers are given, we should know how to add, how to subtract, how to multiply those numbers. So we'll take example wise, because these are very basics, so we will not spend much time on this, but some small examples we'll take. Suppose I have a complex number. Suppose I have a complex number z is equal to, example you take, z is equal to 3 plus 4i, or sometimes you can also write like 3 plus i4, anything. Now when we are writing this in this format, this is given as rectangular format. I want to write this into polar format. So I can frame the question as convert into polar form. So polar form means right now it is written as z is equal to I plus iy, solution. So given format is this. We have to convert into polar form. So we need r value. So r value is nothing but mod of z, and mod of z is nothing but you take the values and square. So when you will take the values and you will square, that time your z will convert into, this z will convert into the length. So that is nothing but just change, just square the coefficients like this. You know how to find out the this theorem. I forgot the name of the theorem. Can someone recall the name of the theorem? Pythagoras theorem. Yeah, if this is x, this is y. So x square plus y square. So the same way we can find out here. So this is going to be 3 square plus 4 square, and we are going to get some 5. So r value is 5. Okay, r value is clear. We also need theta. So theta will be nothing but tan inverse 4 by 3, right? Because this length is 4, this length is 3. Okay, you know how to discuss this. After this, this z value you can write as r, after that e power I theta. Now you see this r value, you know, that is here, which is 5, and e power I theta also, you know, means e will be as it is, I will be as it is, only theta value you will replace by this value. So this is how we are converting. Now if you have two complex numbers and you want to add the complex number, then what will be the new complex number? Suppose I'm changing the page. Suppose you have a complex example here. We are going to understand addition. Suppose you have any complex number z1 that is given as 2 plus 3i, and you have another complex number z2, suppose that is 1 plus 2i, and we want to add these two complex numbers. So actually they behave like vectors. If you have some basic ideas about vectors, you can easily solve them. So see here, when you are adding two complex numbers, then you will be getting a new complex number, suppose z, and you are finding out z1 plus z2. So how will you find out? Like in vectors, x components we add together, y component we add together, z we add together. So here also real will add together and imaginary will add together. So it will be having 2 plus 1 real part and 3i plus 2i imaginary part. So you can see this total part and this total part. This is your real new number and this is your imaginary new number. So your new z became 3 plus 5i. Now in this 3 plus 5i, again this answer we have got in Cartesian or you say rectangular form. Again we can convert this into polar form with the help of r and theta. So that time your z will be looking like r e power I theta. So this is how we have to add. In case of subtraction, simply we'll subtract the way we used to subtract. So suppose you have to find out z is equal to z1 minus z2. In that case, 2 plus 3i and put minus sign 1 plus 2i. Simply you subtract. So 2 minus 1 you write together, and 3i minus 2i you write together. So it is going to be 1 plus I. So this became your new complex number. Now, how do we multiply two complex numbers? So for that, I'll change the page. So in another example, suppose same complex number, that complex number was how much? 3 plus 2 plus I and 1 plus 2i. 2 plus 3i, 1 plus 2i. So Z1 is equal to 2 plus 3i and Z2 is equal to 1 plus 2i. Now I want to multiply this. It means now this Z is equal to going to be Z1 into Z2. So when we are doing multiplication, so write like this: 2 plus 3i and then next bracket 1 plus 2i. Now simply you multiply them. So this number you take, first you multiply here and then you multiply here. So it will be 2 into 1 plus 2 into 2i. Okay. After that, take this number, multiply here and multiply here. So 3i into 1 plus 3i into 2i. Okay. Now you see here, this 2 into 1 will give you 2, and this 2 into 2i will give you 4i, and this 3i into 1 will give you 3i, and this will give you 3 2 just 6, and I into I is I square. So 6i square. Now one more thing you see here, this 4i and 3i we can club together. So this 4i and 3i will give you 7i, and this 2 is 2. Okay, no problem. But here you see I square. Always remember, I is nothing but under root minus 1. So if you will square this, you'll be getting minus 1. So I square is minus 1. So this I can write as minus 1. So this total will be minus 6. So minus 6. So if you club this minus 6 and 2 together, you will be getting minus 4 and plus 7i. So this is how we will do multiplication. And in case if you want to discuss division also is very simple. Suppose I want to go for Z is equal to a new example. I want to go Z is equal to Z1 by Z2. In that case, you write 2 plus 3i divided by 1 plus 2i. In that case, what will you do? You just take conjugate number of the denominator and you multiply. So multiply with the conjugate. Conjugate is nothing but 1 minus 2i. So 1 minus 2i multiply here, and 1 minus 2i you multiply here. Okay. Now you see when you are taking conjugate, in that case, here you have multiplication. So this part of multiplication you will do like this, the way we have done here. And this part of multiplication is very simple. So 2 plus 3i in one bracket and 1 minus 2i in one bracket. This multiplication we know very well. Now divide this. You can see a and b. So a plus b, a minus b. So it will be giving you a square minus b square. Okay. So this multiplication part you leave as it is. Whatever will come with little b. No need to waste time in that. 1 minus 2i and divide by this 1 square will be 1 as it is. Now square of 2 is 4. Square of I is minus 1. So minus 4. So it will be plus 4. So it will be plus 4 here. So finally we got this as 5. Okay. So this is how you'll be getting your answer. And numerator part you just leave right now as it is. Now we are going to discuss some popular terminologies, like what is called modulus, what is called amplitude, like these things. So already we have discussed they are nothing but r and theta. R is modulus and theta is your theta is known as the like how long it is, argument of that z plus 1, like z or z minus 1, whatever number is given. So we will we say that as theta. So we'll take one example. I'll change the page. See, take some important point. One thing is like conjugate. How do you do conjugate? If you have some z complex number as 1 plus 3i, then z bar will be 1 minus 3i. So this is conjugate number of this, and this is conjugate number of this. So they are conjugate couple. Take down. Okay. Now you see. Remaining things you know. If you are adding two complex conjugates, then you just add and check. You'll be getting real number. If you are subtracting two conjugate couples, then what are you getting? If you're multiplying them, what are you getting? So we have some set of rules. So only 4-5 rules are sufficient. You take down, like first rule, real part of z is, you can write as 1 by 2 z plus z bar, because you see, if you will find out conjugate of given number and if you will add them, then only I term will get cancelled. So whatever term will be remaining, that will be real. So r is representing the real term. In same way, if you have imaginary part of any complex number, that will be nothing but 1 by 2i z minus z bar. Okay, because if you will subtract them, then real part will get cancelled, only imaginary part will be remaining. So we are writing like this. Okay, if you are suppose finding out modulus of any number, the same thing I will say as r. So that is nothing but this will be equal to the modulus of the complex conjugate also, because square term will come na, so I will be same. If you will square, same answer will come. Now suppose you are multiplying this z and z bar, then also you will be getting square of the modulus. So suppose there can be one more operation. Suppose you have z1 and z2. First you are multiplying, then finding modulus. So this will be same as like first find out modulus and then multiply. In same way, if you are adding two complex numbers, after addition, if you are finding out modulus, that will be same answer, that first you find out modulus of both and then you add. And same follows for division also. Suppose you have z1 by z2. After whatever answer is coming, for that answer you are finding out the conjugate. So that is nothing but conjugate of z1 also and conjugate of z2 also you do, and then divide. Note, always remember, whatever property come in denominator, that should not be 0. It means when you are finding out conjugate of z2, it should not be 0. Now I take one question where I will discuss how to reduce a given complex number and how to find modulus and amplitude. I will change the page. Take down example. This one is 1 by 2, and here also it is 1 by 2. This is also 1 by 2, this is also 1 by 2. Here you have z bar, here you have z bar. Okay. Take one example. Suppose you have a function like 1 minus cos alpha plus I sin alpha, and we have to find out modulus, we have to convert this in modulus amplitude form. Convert into modulus amplitude form. How can we do this? Very easy. First thing, you try to understand in the given number, in which format the number is given, Cartesian form or polar form. So don't see the angles here. If you see the angles here, then you will be confused. You may say that, okay, it is polar form. No, we don't write polar form like this, right? So how can we tackle ahead? Whatever is given this part, this is your real part, and real part is nothing but r cos theta, right? In same way, whatever is given here, this is your imaginary part. It means this is the value of r sin theta. What is r cos theta? What is r sin theta? Already we have discussed. If any Argand plane is there, any point is there, then location of the point from the origin is r and angle is theta, right? So when r gives component on x-axis, it becomes r cos theta, which is real. And when r gives component on y-axis, which is this much, which is nothing but this side also, right? So they both are same. So that is r sin theta. That is imaginary. Okay. So this r cos theta and r sin theta value we got. So if you got r cos theta, r sin theta, then can we calculate exact r value in terms of alpha? So always remember, if you have some value r cos theta, suppose any number L is there, and suppose r sin theta, any number, you leave L, you write as PQ, that will be much easier, PQ. So you get my point. This is your equation 1, this is your equation 2. If you divide both the equations, sorry, don't divide the equation, square and add. So if you square this equation, it will be like r square cos square theta is equal to p square, and this is square and add, then this equation will be r square sin square theta is equal to q square. if you will add both the equations, this equation and this equation, take r square common. So in the bracket 1 will come because sin square plus cos square becomes 1 for any angle of theta, does not matter. And this becomes p square plus q square. Okay, in childhood, I used to have a confusion that if sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1, then even sin theta plus cos theta should be 1, and even sin cube theta plus cos cube theta should be 1, because I used to think they are square only. So either you take a square root, then come to this point, then take cube root, or do cube, come to this point, they all should be 1, 1, 1, 1. No. Then I realized there is difference between a square plus b square and a plus b whole square. So this formula is valid only for square square. Anyway, this, when I was in 7th or 8th class, that time I had confusion in this. Okay, and when I started in 9th class trigonometry, then it was clear. Okay, so this so you can see r is nothing but under root p square plus q square. It means whatever value we have here and whatever value we have here, this is p and q is nothing but same x and y only, right? If you talk on in terms of x and y, so this is nothing but your x square, y square, x square, y square. So you got your r value. So you do in same way, substitute the values here. So you will be getting your r as 2 sine alpha by 2. This is your total angle. Sine alpha by 2 is your angle. Now, how will you find out angle? So angle is nothing but this theta angle I am talking. This theta angle. So this is nothing but y by x value, tan theta. So tan theta is equal to y by x. So your y value is nothing but sine alpha, and your x value is nothing but 1 minus cos alpha. So your tan theta will be sine alpha divided by 1 minus cos alpha. So this total became, whatever answer will come, that will be answer for the tan theta. Now you apply some trigonometry here and you will be getting your tan theta value as 4 sine square alpha by 2. What can you do here? You just open sine alpha as 2 cos alpha by 2 into sine alpha by 2. And here you apply the cos theta formula in terms of sine 2 theta formula. We can break this. I mean sine square form. You remember one more thing. Some students may do mistake here. If you have cos 2 theta formula, then no doubt you can write as 1 minus 2 sine square theta. So if here you have 2 theta, then you are writing theta. So if here you divide by 2, so here also you divide by 2, it means cos theta. So simple cos theta you can write as 2 sine square theta by 2. So this change you will do in the question, then only you will be getting your tan theta as final answer. Tan theta as cot alpha by 2. So what I have written here, this is not your final answer. Your final answer is here. Tan theta you will be getting as cot alpha by 2. Now cot alpha by 2, because see, here we have tan, here we have cot, so we cannot compare this alpha with alpha by 2. So either this also I should make as cot, or this also I should make as tan. So with help of trigonometry, this cot alpha by 2 I can make as tan pi by 2 minus alpha by 2. Now if you are confused like how can I write this, then go to mathematics playlist, okay, where I have added all the videos. There I have explained 90 minus theta, 90 plus theta, 180 minus theta. Those concepts I have explained in a video. Watch that video, your concept will be absolutely right. Okay, so now you can see here tan theta is equal to tan this much. So it means this theta is equal to this guy. So we got theta is equal to pi by 2 minus alpha by 2. Pi by 2 minus alpha by 2. So it means on the track if you are, so this total is your pi by 2. Now from this pi by 2 you have to subtract how much? Some alpha by 2 angle. So if you subtract some alpha by 2 angle, then suppose this much is your alpha by 2 angle, so you will be remaining to this much angle. So that is only angle I am saying as pi by 2 minus alpha by 2. So this angle as theta. So your point is here. Okay. So your z was given as 1 minus cos alpha plus I sin alpha. So this was a separate number, this was a separate number like x and y. So now this was in Cartesian form, or you say rectangular form. I am converting into polar form. So that is nothing but modulus amplitude form. So my modulus I can write as r e power I theta. So this is one thing. you can also write as, see, you can also write as r cos theta plus I sin theta. This is also one format. So here, when you say that convert into modulus amplitude form, so this is your modulus amplitude form. This is your Euler form. Okay, if you are using E, then it gets special name, you call Euler form. So R value we know, theta value just now we have find out this much. So substitute theta here, substitute theta here, substitute R value here. So this answer will be your modulus amplitude form. Okay, done. Now we can practice one more question. Suppose any example I'm taking. Find Z if ARG Z plus 1 is equal to pi by 6 and ARG Z minus 1 is equal to 2 pi by 3. Now actually what is this ARG? That is nothing but the value of tan theta. So how to discuss this? Get my point. Suppose this Z value I will give in terms of x and y. So I will write solution. Z is equal to, I will write x plus y, iy. Okay, this is my Z value. It means I need to find out x value and y value. Then I can do this. So if Z plus 1 is written anywhere, then where will I add this 1? So that 1 I will add in real number, because that number what is added, that is plus 1, that is real number. So Z plus 1 I will write as x plus 1 plus iy. And in same way, if Z minus 1 is given, then I will write x minus 1 plus iy. Clear? Now this argument is given. Argument for Z plus 1 is given as pi by 6. Now see here, can I write tan inverse x plus, y divided by x plus 1 is equal to 30 degree? If anyone is having any doubt, let me know and explain. You say, how can I write this line? Tan inverse y by x plus 1. Think on this. Got the idea? Anyone? Very good. Very good. So for this first number, for the first explanation, I mean the first equation, this total part is your as y and this total part is your x. So already I have explained your theta is nothing but tan inverse y by x. So currently your x is x plus 1, and for x plus 1, I mean for z plus 1, your angle is pi by 6. That's why this pi by 6 has 30 degree. And because I'm writing now, so tan inverse this y means this y, and this x plus 1 means this x plus 1, and I'm able to find out this argument for this is nothing but pi by 6. So I'm writing in this way. Argument of this is nothing but writing theta value. Okay, so that is tan inverse y by x plus 1 is 30 degree. In same way, I can take this tan here and I can make one equation in terms of x and y. So that equation will look like under root, because when you substitute the value and when you multiply, under root 3 y is equal to x plus 1. Now here you can put equation 1, and in same way you will tackle for the second equation. So in case of second equation, it is very similar. Now this will be your y value. So you simply write as tan, because see 2 pi by 30 means how much? 60 into 2, that is 120. So tan 120 degree value is given as y by x minus 1. Then you substitute the value of tan 120 degree. Now some students may have trouble, what will be the value of tan 120 degree? So currently you remember it is minus root 3, but in future you just watch the first video of the playlist, that is 90 plus theta, 90, that kind of concept I have explained in that, how to find out tan 120 or any angle. You'll be very comfortable. So y by x minus 1 again will give you, with help of this, will give you one equation. So that equation will look like y is equal to, just multiply here, under root 3 x minus under root 3. You say as second equation. Solve equation 1, equation 2. You will be getting x value as 1 by 2, y value as root 3 by 2. You got both the values. So in the beginning itself, I have considered my z value as x plus iy. So this x value you replace with 1 by 2 and y value you replace with root 3 by 2. So that will be your final complex number. So that will look like 1 by 2 plus root 3 by 2 I. So this total became your final complex number. It means these answers were given for the same z value. That's why I'm able to find out z. They are not the values for z1 and z2. They are not for two different. Last step, just after finding out x equal to 1 by 2 and y is equal to root 3 by 2, substitute here and here. You solve. You have one equation here and you have one equation here, right? Solve both the equations because they both are having x and y, right? Using angle. Here you see, na? Using angle. This tan inverse y by x plus 1 is given as 30 degree. Pratik, that argument is given, right? That argument is theta angle. Okay, argument of z plus 1 is given. Actually, argument of z plus 1 was given as pi by 6. So that z plus 1 is already given argument of z plus 1, arg z plus 1. This arg z plus 1 means theta. So see here, argument of z plus 1 means, what is z plus 1? Z plus 1 value was nothing but x plus 1 plus iy. Okay, so from here, if you will find out tan theta, how will you find out tan theta? You will be writing this y divided by this x plus 1. Okay, and this theta was given as pi by 3, pi by 6, that is 30 degree. So tan 30 degree is equal to y by x plus 1. Now substitute tan 30 value. That is tan 30 how much? 1 by root 3. So substitute here 1 by root 3 and then shuffle this, you'll be getting equation. Pratik, are you getting now? In same way, for the second case, you put here minus sign, but angle is 120 now. So for 120 degree, this answer is minus root 3. Then you'll be getting a second equation. Here minus 1. Second equation. Solve both the equations. You'll be getting x value as 1 by 2 and y value as root 3 by 2. Then put back. You'll be getting final answer. Yes. Of course you can put. You'll be getting right answer. Only thing is, if you want to know your answer in terms of root 3, then gate calculator will not give you root 3. Gate calculator will give you simplified format of this in decimal. So there you may have confusion. Actually, what happens, what calculator we use in our college calculator, there we have button, we can easily convert root 3 into decimal and decimal into root 3. Okay. Now we will talk about some geometrical representation so that you can feel what is happening here. Suppose you have, you take down geometrical. See, actually this much basic they will not ask in GATE exam, but without these basics, we cannot discuss the theorems and advanced upcoming things. See, one more thing. I cannot say that they will not ask basics. What if one simple question they will ask from basic? In that case, so that's why I'm taking basic. So don't mind, because basic is very, very important for this. Because complex number is very different subject. For some students, it is not comfortable at all. Now you see, geometric representation you take. Representation, because if you will be knowing all the basics, then your brain will work. Geometric representation. So suppose I have one complex number which is having coordinate that I will write for z1, so it will be having some coordinate here, x1, or okay, leave that coordinate. Now I have one more complex number which is having coordinate z2. So when you will add both, then you will be getting a new coordinate, right? When you will be adding z1 and z2, it means you are adding real part and you are adding imaginary part. So when you will be adding real part, then your for, you get my point, for this guy your real part is here, for this guy your real part is here. When you are adding both the real part, it depends what kind of question is given, plus minus sign is given, your final real part may come this side, may come in between, may come this side, correct? So your real part may come this side, your real part may come this side, your real part may come anywhere, real part may come. In same way, you will add your imaginary part also. So for this guy imaginary is here, for this guy imaginary is here. So when you are adding both the imaginary answer, it may lie in this zone, it may lie in this zone, it may lie in this zone. So finally, you can have point anywhere. So for neat and clean diagram, I am choosing that I am getting my point here. So when you are getting the point there, actually this is exact like parallelogram method. Whatever length is here, same length you draw. Whatever length is here, same length you draw. So after that, from the origin and this, you draw this line. So this will be your z1 plus z2 value. This is the meaning of geometrical representation. Okay. Now some ways are there. We can find out some kind of equations. Like if I will write any complex number, then that complex number will represent some kind of geometry. Okay, so let's one example. Just suppose you have z minus a is equal to k, any constant number. Now I want to know that one thing is clear, because z is present, so this is representing a equation. So this a complex equation, so definitely every equation will represent some kind of curve. So what is this curve? How will you know this curve? So for that, you get my point like this. This z what you are seeing here, that is nothing but z is equal to x plus iy, you always consider. So you have subtracted minus a, so it will be x minus a plus iy, because a is a real number, that's why I am subtracting from the x alone. Okay, now if you find out mod of z minus a, then it will be like under root x minus a whole square plus y square. Okay, so this total thing will represent some constant k here, and after that, if you bother only this guy, so square every side. So x minus a square plus y square is equal to k square. You know, whenever we have this kind of format, then in geometry it represents circle. So this equation is representing locus of a circle. So the equation mod of z minus a is equal to k represents equation of circle. Now it means what? Whenever I will write any kind of complex number, then it will represent some kind of circle, some kind of shape, and if we put the limits, like the mod, the z is more than this value, less than this value, then it will represent a region, like shaded area. You remember we used to do. I'll change the page. Suppose one example, if I will put mod of z plus 2i, this total answer, when you are putting in the mod, it means that this total complex number, when you are putting in the mod, then your answer must be more than 1 and less than 3. So this total thing will give you some physical idea. So first of all, we should understand what is this guy representing. Okay, so what we have to do, this z plus 2i mod of this total is greater than 1. So if it is greater than 1, so right now I am considering it is 1 for some purpose. I will explain what is the purpose. In same way, mod of z, actually guys, it is plus 2. Mod of z plus 2i, again mod, this is given less than 3. So I am considering it is equal to 3. Now, just now we have solved one example. We saw that this will represent a circle. This will represent a circle. Let's understand what kind of circle this guy will represent. So this z value, always consider either in this case or in this case or any case, you should always consider z value as x plus iy. But plus 2i is added. It means it is imaginary number is added. So here you have to add plus 2i in imaginary number. So it will be like x plus I you take common y plus 2. Here also almost same. Z plus 2i is equal to this will be nothing but z, sorry, this, don't put equal here, you put equal here. You do like this actually. Z is equal to, you consider x plus iy, and then z plus 2i is nothing but your x plus I 2y. Okay, now sorry, 2 plus y. Okay, now you see this number, this total number is final answer for z plus 2i, right? Z plus 2i. Now take the mod of that. So when you will take the mod of that, means mod of this, so that will be nothing but under root x square plus y plus 2 whole square. Here also same thing will happen, x square plus 2 plus y whole square under root. Now here total mod I have considered equal to 1, and here total mod I have considered is equal to 3. So this is also representing a circle. This is also representing a circle, but with different radius. You can clearly see here radius is going to be 1 and here radius is going to be 3. Okay, so they both circles are giving you a limit. You see in this zone, I'll change the page. See, one circle is this. This circle is nothing but mod of z plus 2i, and it is saying that it is equal to 1. And I will draw one more circle. I am drawing one more circle, and this circle is representing mod of z plus 2i is equal to 3. But our data is given as this total value has to be greater than 1 and less is equal to 3. It means the zone only this much we have to consider for analysis. That is the idea. Okay, so you draw this diagram and solve this. Now suppose I am taking one more example. If it is written as r bracket z is greater than 3, what does it mean? It means on your real and imaginary line, imaginary axis, you have any z. That z is nothing but the x plus iy. In this, why am I writing r? This r represents only the real part. So they are saying the real part is more than 3. Real part is more than 3. It means what? If you go on the real axis, 1, 2, 3, suppose 3. So for 3, you draw one line, and all the real values will satisfy this equation, which is after this. Okay, which is after this. So this line is x is equal to 3 line, and all this zone is will satisfy this equation. Okay, I'm changing the page now. Take one more example. Suppose you have a condition. Yes, ask it out. It is not r of 2, not r of 2. It is z, r of z. R of z, r of z. Z means real part of z. Pratik, get my point. What is z? Z is nothing but okay, clear? Totally clear? Okay. It means all the real numbers more than 3 will satisfy this equation. Okay. I am changing the page. Now get my point. One more example. Suppose you have pi by 6 less is equal to amplitude z less is equal to pi by 3. Okay. So This amplitude, what you are seeing here, this amplitude Z, this will represent, suppose now because it is in terms of angle, so it's better we discuss our complex number in terms of either polar coordinate, I mean r cos and sine. So it will be better in that format if we discuss. So Z is equal to r bracket cos theta plus I sin theta format will be the best to judge this question. Now see, if this total equation, in this, what is your real part? R cos theta is your real part and R sin theta is your imaginary part, no doubt in this. This Z is the total complex number, which is mixture of both. In this, if amplitude Z is written, it represents the theta, okay? It represents the theta. It means your theta is between more than pi by 6 and less than pi by 3. So it means go to the Argand plane. This is your imaginary, sorry. This is your real and this is your imaginary. So in this, you have to draw one line which length is r, but the angle is more than but the angle is pi by 6, and then you have to draw same line of equal length r, because the vector is same, means r value is same, but that angle, this total angle will be pi by 3, but condition is given that which amplitude will be valid amplitude, which is more than pi by 6 and less than pi by 3. I hope it's clear. So it means only the middle zone, only the middle zone will be your required answer. So this is your required zone. Yes. Right. Both represents theta. Correct. Okay. Now see, some formats they may ask in GATE exam. Actually, they are very easy question. Very like this kind of questions. I'll change the page. Suppose one example. If I'll go like this, mod of Z1 plus Z2, only this much. I want to know that I have first option. It is exactly equal to mod of Z1 plus mod of Z2, or it is option 2, or it is less than mod of Z1 plus mod of Z2, or it is more than mod of Z1 plus mod of Z2, okay, or option 4, none. Suppose this is the option. So actually see, what is your Z1, what is your Z2? They are two complex numbers. You can consider them as their product in the sense as their vector quantities. Like in the this plane, suppose this is the point, and if you draw this will represent Z1, and suppose this is the point, if you draw this will represent Z2. Okay, so now see, if I will draw dotted line which is equal to Z1 and I will draw dotted line which is equal to Z2, then where they will intersect at this location, if I will join this, so this will represent Z1 plus Z2. Okay, now I want to give name. Suppose I am giving name A, B and C. So if I am choosing triangle ABC, so in ABC triangle, you get my point. This is representing Z1 plus Z2. This is representing Z2 and this is Z1. So you may be remembering in our basic classes, 6th or 7th standard, we used to remember one theorem in trigonometry that sum of two sides of triangle is always greater than the third side. Right? It means what? If you go for the modulus of Z1, then it will represent the length of the side. Then it will, if you'll go for modulus of Z2, then it will represent again the length of side. Okay, if you add both, it means you are adding two sides of triangle. So of course that will be greater than the modulus of the third one. So this guy will be greater than which one? Mod of Z1 plus Z2. At the same time, you can put equal sign also in case this point will shift here. So from here to here it will be Z1, and from here to here it will be the remaining part. Okay, maybe you can have like this. this kind of situation is also possible. One guy is here and one guy is here like this, and they are getting exact answer same. So equal is also possible. Okay, so you should put greater and equal sign. Just opposite thing we can do if you are going for the minus sign. If you are subtracting one side from the other side, then of course that answer will be less than the third side. So this you consider as the question. So in the question, because see, this is also representing the correct answer because of this equal sign, and this is also representing the correct answer. But if the question is MSQ, then you hit both. But if the question is MCQ, then hit none. Okay, now I'll change the page and take the note. Mod of Z1 minus Z2 is actually greater is equal to mod of Z1 minus mod of Z2. And just with the help of that trigonometry concept, you can remember this. You should also take one note point, and it is important point about ellipse. In case of this, suppose this is your ellipse, and this ellipse I want to analyze with respect to the origin in your real and imaginary axis. So in ellipse you have one focus here and you have one focus here. So this focus will be having a particular coordinate, and this focus will also be having a particular coordinate. So with the help of that coordinate, I can find out like this complex number and this complex number I am saying as Z1 and Z2. So in this you will be having major axis also, minor axis also, right? So if you consider any arbitrary number here, that is Z, because anywhere you will be having another complex number, right? Anywhere else another complex number, so that complex number I will represent with Z. Okay, so equation of ellipse, like just now I gave equation of circle. So equation of ellipse you can write as mod of Z minus Z1 plus mod of Z minus Z2 is equal to 2a. Now what is this 2a here? This will be a constant which will represent the major axis. This may help you in future. Right. Which part? This constant 2a, what is coming here in the equation, that is nothing but the major axis. Like major axis of the ellipse. In ellipse we have major axis, minor axis, na? Right. Not the semi one, not the half, the full. Okay. And one more thing they may ask, eccentricity. So that eccentricity you just write as eccentricity is equal to mod of Z1 minus Z2 whole divided by 2a. So this is extra data. It will help you in some numerical. Now we'll go for a basic theorem that is very popular. Now we are going little advanced. This guy is one focus of the ellipse, this guy is another focus of the ellipse, and these lines are nothing but complex number Z1 and complex number Z2, right? Eccentricity. Okay, now I will change the page. If you have done my space dynamics course, then there I have explained everything about ellipse very well. Eccentricity for circle, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola. I have taken this course in detail, space dynamics course. So if you'll revise or if you'll watch that on Drive, you'll be getting a lot more about this. Now you go for very special theorem that we call as d Moyer's theorem. De Moyer's theorem. Sorry. Okay. So actually, according to this theorem, cos theta plus I sin theta, if whole power you are getting n, then this you can break as cos n theta plus I sin n theta. We have a proof for this, but no need to go for proof. And we have to consider n is integer, and second, it can be positive or negative. It is valid for if n is integer or it is positive or negative. One small simplification we can do so that we can see how to use this theorem. This is the theorem, main thing. One small example we'll do so that we'll see how to use this theorem. Take down your example. Suppose I'm writing cos 3 theta plus I sin 3 theta whole power 4 bracket cos 4 theta minus I sin theta whole power 5. Sorry, here we have 4 theta. Cos 4 theta minus I sin 4 theta whole power 5. In first bracket we have power 4. Now whole divide by cos 4 theta plus I sin 4 theta whole power 3. In next bracket cos 5 theta plus I sin 5 theta whole power bracket minus 4. Okay. Now we are looking for the correct answer. So option 1 0, option 2 minus 1, option 3 plus 1, option 4 pi, option 5 e. We have 5 options given. So we need to know which option is going to be the correct option. So you see here, we will apply De Moyer's theorem. So De Moyer's theorem will help you. This 4 will come here and here in multiplication. This 5 will come here and here in multiplication. In same way, this 3 and this 4 will also come. So I will change the page and every term I will discuss in detail. Okay, and one more thing. This theorem what we have written here, cos n theta plus I sin, and like here, in this theorem you take care of the plus sign. This n what we have written here, this n can be integer, have to be integer, but it can be positive also, it can be negative also. In my question, your n is only here positive, here positive, here positive, here positive, here negative. So both, I mean everywhere we can apply this theorem in all the 4 parts. I'll change the page. You see one by one I'm writing in the solution part. The cos 4 theta minus I sin 4 theta whole power 5. The second bracket I'm discussing. Whole power 5. This 5 I am going to multiply with this and with this. So this will be cos 20 theta and minus I sin 20 theta. Then I am writing the first bracket, that was cos 3 theta plus I sin 3 theta whole power 4. So this 4 if I'll multiply with this 3 theta, so it will be cos 12 theta, but plus sign, I sin 12 theta. 12 theta. Okay. And then we have one more thing. All the 4 brackets you see here, all the 4 brackets, I mean here, this bracket and this bracket, they are in multiplication. This bracket and this bracket, they are in multiplication. We cannot cancel them. Why? Because angles are not same. Here we have 3 and 3. Here we have 4 and 4, but here we have plus sign. Here also we have 4 and 4 here also, but here we have minus sign. So we are not able to cancel any bracket. So what will I do? I am converting. Now see here. Here I applied De Mor's theorem. I converted into this. Okay. Now one more thing I can do here. Now this is also 20 and this is also 20, and I can consider them as minus 20, and I can take minus up. One more thing you remember. Cos minus theta we write as cos theta. Okay. So from here this minus 20 is there now. So this total part I can write as cos minus 20 theta. That will give me, and minus this minus sign is already there. So that minus sign is this concept. Minus sine minus theta is minus sine theta. So this minus sign I will send inside. So it will be plus I sine minus 20 theta. Now see what is happening here. This step I am further expanding here. Cos, I am getting this minus theta. So minus theta will be cos theta. And this minus 20 and this minus 20 I will consider as n. Okay. So I am writing as cos minus 20 theta and plus this sign as it is, I sine minus 20 theta. Now get my point. Now just reverse the De Mor's theorem. Reverse means again take this power up. So I can write this as cos theta plus I sine theta whole power minus 20. Okay, so with this process, I will convert all the four brackets into same cos theta plus I sine theta. Like you can see the second, this bracket I am expanding. This 12 and 12, I can take the power like cos theta plus I sine theta whole power 12. Okay, the upper part is clear. In same way, we will go for the bottom part. So in bottom part, you have two more brackets. Cos 4 theta plus I sine 4 theta whole power 3. So here you have 4 and here you have 4. Take 4 outside, I mean in the power. So it will be cos theta plus I sine theta. Then you can write whole power 12. Then you have one more bracket. You have cos 5 theta plus you have I sine 5 theta. And in this also you have power minus 4. So again 5 also you can jump. So you will be getting cos theta plus I sine theta whole power minus 20. So you can see at the bottom means at the denominator we are getting power 12 and minus 20. And here also at the top we are getting power same minus 20 and 12. It means everywhere same power. It means in the nominator also we are getting numerator also we are getting cos theta plus I sine theta whole power minus 8, and denominator also we are getting cos theta plus I sine theta whole power minus 8. So we can cancel this, so answer will be 1. So this one is your correct answer. So this is how we have to use De Mor's theorem. So these kind of questions if coming, easily you can crack this. Now we have some more important kind of questions. It looks like this question they have asked from trigonometry, but we can crack this question using complex numbers. Okay, I will change the page. I will explain how can we do this. Suppose I am asking one question here. Example. Sin alpha plus cos alpha, sin alpha plus cos beta plus sin gamma is given as cos alpha plus cos beta plus cos gamma. And this total is equal to 0 again. Means this part is also 0, this part is also 0. Then option. No, then question is the value of sin 2 alpha plus sin 2 beta plus sin 2 gamma will be option 1 0, option 2 1, option 3 minus 1, option 4 pi. So let's solve this question. So with the help of De Mor's theorem, you can solve this question. So see, right now you should remember whenever there is requirement of cos theta plus I sin theta, then this total big part, no need to write again and again. We have fashion for that. That fashion is copy C from here, copy I from here, and copy S from here, C, cis theta. We say cis theta. So like cis theta, cis alpha, cis beta, like that. So these kind of questions we do by using some tricks. Suppose if anywhere it is written cos alpha plus I sin alpha, this is written. So I will write as cis alpha, so that we can use less space and it will be easy for us. Cis alpha. So trick is let A is equal to cis alpha. So alpha portion I took in consideration. Then consider B is equal to cis beta. Then beta portion also I took in consideration. Then my C is equal to cis gamma. If I will add them, so just because it is the consideration, now after correct assumption I am going to add them, like A plus B plus C. So see here, cos alpha, cos beta and cos gamma will come. So they all are real parts. So all the real parts I will write in one bracket. So cos alpha plus cos beta plus cos gamma, and in next bracket I'll put I, and I will put sin alpha plus sin beta plus sin gamma. Okay. If I will inverse every term, like A is cis alpha, if I want to find out 1 by A, okay, I'm erasing this part. You see the beauty of Demar's theorem. A is cis alpha. Now I want to find out 1 by A. So 1 by A is nothing but cos alpha plus I sin alpha whole power minus 1. So can I apply Demar's theorem here? Yes, we can apply Demar's theorem. How? This minus 1 I can send here and I can send here. So cos minus alpha will be cos alpha only, but sin minus alpha will be minus sin alpha. So this will be like cos alpha minus I sin alpha. Okay. In same way, if I want to find out addition of 1 by A plus 1 by B plus 1 by C, then my addition, see, actually this is kind of practice question. When you will go to complex chapter, you will be having some similar questions which you can solve using De Moivre's theorem. So this is just like how are we taking help from De Moivre's theorem. So here De Moivre's theorem is helping us in this step. Okay, so all the real parts I will consider together, like cos alpha. So after taking 1 by A plus 1 by B plus 1 by C together, all the real parts and all the imaginary parts will come together. So that is nothing but this. So because we are using for alpha and for beta and for gamma, so we can open this as in one bracket cos alpha plus cos beta plus cos gamma in one bracket. In another bracket put minus sign and then put I, and then sin alpha plus sin beta plus sin gamma. Now this total answer is for this, and already we have got for A plus B plus C. Now we'll take help. And one more thing, if I will multiply them individually, like BA plus CA plus AB, there are tricks actually. Like see, we solved this property, we got some answer. We solved this property, we got some answer. In same way, we are solving properties. I will change the page. And one thing, this total is here, this total is here, and they both are equal to 0. So this total value is coming as 0. Okay, now I'll change the page. See here, I have one more requirement, and requirement is, because it is given the question, this alone is sin alpha, cos alpha, sorry, this is also sin. Sine alpha, sine beta and sine gamma. Then cos alpha, cos beta and cos gamma, they are 0. Both separate, they are 0. So here we have addition, that is also 0 given here. Here also I have addition, so this is also 0 because given here. In the question it is given. So you see here, trick is, because I have to find out sine 2 alpha, sine 2 beta, sine 2 gamma value. So there is only one procedure through which I can reach here. That procedure is by applying a plus b plus c whole square. Then only I can reach there. I will change the page. See, I want to apply a square. Already you know this term. A square plus b square plus c square will give you a plus b plus c whole square minus 2 bc plus ca plus ab is equal to 0. Now question is, how can I write this is equal to this is equal to 0? Because just now I have proved a plus b plus c will also be equal to 0. Why? Because you see here, this guy and this guy, they are nothing but these two here, so they will also be 0. So this guy will also be 0. So I can write this total part 0. Now only the remaining thing is bc plus ca plus ab. So actually if you will find out that multiplication, then again that will come 0 in multiplication, after finding out multiplication. So when you will calculate this will also come 0. So finally where we are approaching, this a square plus b square plus c square term is coming finally 0, because this part is 0 already. This part I am saying you, when you will solve, then it will come 0. So a square plus b square plus c square is coming as 0. A value, b value and c value is square substitute here. So it will be cis alpha whole square plus cis beta whole square plus cis gamma whole square. Okay, now it will come. Now see here, this cis alpha square, cis beta square, cis gamma square, these values I can put here, and then this value, total value here, and it is given as 2 bc plus ab. Wait, this separate value we have got this much. Now in this separate value we have to find out the answer. We have to convert this in terms of cis 2 alpha plus cis 2 beta plus cis 2 gamma. How can I write this? Using De Moivre theorem. This 2 will go here, this 2 will go here, and this 2 will go here. So cis 2 alpha, cis 2 beta, cis 2 gamma is equal to 0. Okay. Now one more thing. When you will open cis 2 alpha, cis 2 beta and cis 2 gamma, how will it look like? Cos 2 alpha plus I sine 2 alpha. So you see here. Here I am getting I sine 2 alpha. So in same way I will be getting I sine 2 beta and I cos 2 beta. Okay. So if this total answer is coming to 0, it means the real part, if I will collect from all the three people, like cos 2 alpha plus cos 2 beta plus cos 2 gamma plus I times sine 2 alpha plus sine 2 beta plus sine 2 gamma. So because the total answer is coming 0, it means the real part is also 0 and imaginary part is also 0. So in the question they have asked the value of this guy. So that answer is 0. So that answer will be 0. So these kind of questions, if coming, it will look like, okay, trigonometry questions, but we can crack them using this thing. Now some other type of questions we'll discuss. Like these kind of question also they may ask. I will explain the roots now. I'll change the page. Take down heading as roots of complex number. Now what is this here? Actually, suppose I have 4 here, and if I am writing power 1 by 2, it means I am going to find out square root. If I have 4 here, if I am writing 1 by 3, I am going to find out cube root. If I have 4 here, I am writing 1 by 4, the fourth root. It means I am going to find out roots of the given number. In same way, if I will write any complex number, and above that, suppose this is z plus 1, any complex number, and if I'll write here some 3 by 4, it means I am going to find out root of this complex number. So we have to understand how to find out root of any complex number. Because complex number is also a number, right? It contains both the parts. Okay. See here, I am writing one concept. That concept will help you. There are q and only q distinct values of cos theta plus I sin theta whole power 1 by q. It means there is any complex number z, and I want to find out qth root of the z. That is nothing but written in this form. So this q must be integer. So q should be an integer. Now, so there will be q roots. Now, how will you go ahead? Since cos theta, we can always write in terms of 360 nothing but 2 pi, and from trigonometry, we know this cos 2n pi plus theta. Now, if you want to understand that how 2n pi plus theta is equal to cos theta, so you understand in this way. What is the cos diagram? Cos diagram looks like this, right? So suppose I am considering theta as any 30 degree. So suppose this is the line which represents 30 degree. So this is the angle 30 here. So for the same 30 will come here also, here also, here also, right? Same answers are coming. So at every 2 pi, it means at every 360, when you will bother the same theta, your answer will be same, and they all will be equal to cos theta. Means if you bother about cos 2 pi plus theta or cos 4 pi plus theta or cos 6 pi plus theta, they all will give you answer cos theta. How? You see, this is graph is starting from here, going here, half finish, and then again half finish. So from here to here, how much you covered? You covered 2 pi. Okay. After that, you are starting your graph again from here. Correct. So here you put a new coordinate. So again you see, for this new coordinate, this is behaving like a new cos theta, this gap. I hope it's clear. Then again, this curve will get over here. So again, from here you will start a new cos. So again, cos theta. That's why they all are equal to cos theta. Anyway, simply this one is a basic trigonometry equation that cos 2n plus theta, 2n pi plus theta is always equal to cos theta. In same way, because sine curve is also sinusoidal curve, I'll change the page. So keep in mind your cos theta is always equal to cos 2n pi plus theta, and sin theta, n should be integer, and sin theta is equal to sin 2n pi plus theta. They both are sinusoidal wave. So you can also apply this concept for cis, because if this because it is only about the theta, correct? If you can make your equation in terms of theta, so this can be any angle. Suppose this angle is x, so you write cis 2n pi plus theta is equal to cis theta. This is also valid here. Okay, now we have a magical point. That magical point is, because we are finding out root. So root means if cis theta power 1 by q we have to calculate this, then I can use De Moivre's theorem, and with the help of De Moivre's theorem, this 1 by q I can divide in the angle. Okay, and we also know that this cis theta is equal to this cis theta, I mean cis 2n pi plus q. So this q will be nothing but whole power every new number 1 by q. So with the help of De Moivre's theorem, I can take this 1 by q and divide the angle, right? 1 by q, this is 1 by q. Okay, so I can divide in the angle, that is from De Moivre's theorem. So it will be like cis theta 2 pi n or 2n pi plus theta. In this only I am dividing as q, right? Clear here? Now keep in mind your n should be 0, 1, 2, 3 like that, integers. But you have to go till where? Q minus 1. Why till q minus 1? Because total number of roots can be only q. So you are starting from 0. That's why you are not reaching to q. You are reaching to q minus 1. So for n is equal to 0, if you talk, then it will be pure cis theta by q. For n is equal to 1, if you talk, then it will be cis 2 pi plus theta by q, correct? So like this. So if you put n is equal to q, then what are the answers you are going to get? I'll change the page. For n is equal to q means cis theta 1 by q I can write as cis 2 pi plus theta whole divided by q. Done. Like these are the approaches we used to do for the root calculation. We'll take one small question and we can solve that. Find all the values of 1 by 2 plus root 3i divided by 2 whole power 3 by 4. Now see here 3 by 4 is coming. Also extend the question. Also show that it is very good question. The continued product of these values is 1. So if you go for solution, then because see, we have to reach to the value of 3 by 4, and this is your x value and root 3 by 2 is your y value. So you can say your x is equal to 1 by 2 is equal to r cos theta we used to consider, remember, and your y value is nothing but root 3 by 2, that we can consider as r sin theta. Okay, so with the help of this statement and this statement, just now before some moment we understood that how to find out r value. So r value is nothing but under root this square plus this square, so that will give you 1. And how to find out theta value, that is nothing but y by x, tan inverse y by x, so that will give you pi by 3. Okay, it means this total answer, this total question, I can also replace in terms of r and theta. Means the question which is given as 1 by 2 plus root 3 by 2, consider I here, power 3 by 4. I can write this question as r is 1 bracket cos theta, theta is pi by 3, plus I sin pi by 3, pi by 3. Now whole power 3 by 4. Now this I will do something. This 1 by 4 I will write separately and 3 I will write separately. Means I will erase this 3 by 4 and I will write whole power 3 and then whole power 1 by 4. You might be knowing this term. There is a term in mathematics. You can multiply two powers. Suppose if you have x power mn, then this you can write as x power m whole power n. Okay. So these two guys will multiply. Don't be confused with x power m into x power n is equal to x power m plus n. That is different. Okay, here if the multiplication is given already, then you can break like this. You should not be confused. Okay. Now, if I am using this 3 here and here with the help of De Moivre's theorem, then this 3 and this 3 will get cancelled. Then I will be getting the remaining part. So the remaining part I am writing here. I am writing here at the top. Remaining part will be cis pi, correct? Only pi will be remaining, whole power 1 by 4. Okay. Now this cis pi, like it is like cis theta, I can write as cis. Now see, I am going to write 2n plus 1 pi. I mean 2 pi, this is nothing but 2n pi plus pi. It's like cis theta is equal to 2n pi theta. So now pi I can take common. So it is going to be cis and 1 by 4 is there. Whole power 1 by 4 is there. Cis, you take 2n plus 1 in one bracket and you take pi in one bracket in separately and apply De Moivre's theorem, so it will be by 4. Clear? And your n, we know this n value. This n value will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Okay. Question is, how many times we have to consider n? So this time n will go only for 4 times. Why 4 times? Because here we have 4. I told you, right? 1 by q means only q times. So here we have 4, so only 4 times. So only 4 times means how much? You will go 0, that is 1, then 1, that is 2, then this 2, that is third time, then 3. So total 4 times you will go for this n. So you will, I am erasing this. So these basics will help us when we will go for the higher theorems. Okay. So I got my 4 values. So what are those my 4 values? So required roots, or you say values. First thing is put 0. So you will be getting cis pi by 4. Then you will put 1. So you will be getting cis 3 pi by 4. Then you will put 2. So you will be getting cis 5 pi by 4. And the last one 3. So you will be getting 6, 7 pi by 4. So these values will be getting. And all the values, whatever answer we are getting now, they all are our required values. And they have also asked multiply them. So we have to multiply. So whenever we multiply our numbers like cos theta plus this kind of sin theta, I sin theta, directly we used to add the angles. So for that you take a note. Take note, I'll change the page. Suppose you have to multiply, note, cis theta 1 you want to multiply with cis theta 2, you want to multiply with cis theta 3 and dot dot dot. Then answer comes as cis. You add all the theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta dot dot. It's clear? And one more basic thing you write, otherwise you'll be confused. When it comes for the minus sign, suppose you have cos theta minus I sin theta whole power n. Then you know this minus also you can copy here, because you can consider -1 as the power. So you can write this as cos theta plus I sin theta whole power minus n. And of course, if you want to apply this n here, that is also valid, like cos n theta minus I sin n theta. Okay, so they have asked the product of all the answers. So product of all the answers is nothing but product of now I'm going to find product. So product is nothing but cis, add all the angles, pi by 4 plus 3 pi by 4 plus 5 pi by 4 plus 7 pi by 4. If you'll add them, you'll be getting cis 4 pi. And if you're confused what is the value of cis 4 pi, you quickly jump to cos 4 pi and sin 4 pi value. So this guy is nothing but cos 4 pi plus I sin 4 pi. So cos 4 pi value, how will you get? You jump to graph. That is the easiest method to achieve the answer quickly. So you start from here for the cos and reach here, then reach here, pi over, then reach here and reach here, pi over. So 2 pi over. So after 2 pi you are reaching here, which is 1 plus 1. Okay, because that value is this value, right? So again you complete one more time 2 pi. So again you will be getting to the same plus 1. So from here to here 2 pi, from here to here 2 pi, so 4 pi. So cos 4 pi is 1. In same way sin 4 pi is 0. How will you judge sin 4 pi value? So for that you just see the diagram here. This is your 2 pi and then again you have 2 pi. So after completing 2 pi here and 2 pi here, you are reaching finally at 4 pi. So 4 pi is nothing but 0. So this guy is 0 and this guy 1. So final answer is 1. Some PDFs I'll give you for the practice purpose. I'll upload on Drive. You can practice. They are the short examples, how to find roots. One very popular formula is there in complex number. We used to convert our tan and theta in terms of cos theta. I will change the page. This formula may not be helpful, but just mention in your notebook. Tan n theta, you can write as nc1. Permutation combination, so this is combination nc1 cos n minus 1 theta into sin theta. This is first term. Then in second term, you jump to the odd number with minus sign, like nc3 cos n minus 3 sin cube. Then you put plus sign and jump to again next odd number, nc5 cos n minus 5 sin 5. Okay, and of course put theta also after cos, after sin, theta also you put. Okay, now whole divide by, then bottom you put even numbers like nc0 cos n cos power n theta, and then sine power will be 0, so that will be 1, so leave that sine part. Now minus nc2 cos n minus 2, only even parts below, sine square theta. Then put plus sign here. You can see the alternate here, plus sign here, minus sign here, then plus sign here. So here plus sign here, then minus sign here, then plus sign here. Okay, the next even number will be nc4 cos n minus 4 sin 4 theta. So it will keep on going. So this is the value of tan theta, tan n theta. So tan n theta we also write in terms of tan theta. Right now here I am writing tan n theta in terms of sin and cos. So this is formula 1. So you have second formula. Second formula for the same will be like nc1 tan theta minus nc3 tan cube theta plus nc5 tan 5 theta minus nc7 tan power 7 theta, like it will keep on going, whole divided by even numbers. even numbers you write like this. Start with 1, nc2 tan square theta, then put plus sign, nc4 tan power 4 theta, then put minus sign, nc6 tan power 6 theta, then put plus sign, or like that. So probably this kind of tough question they will not ask in GATE exam, but in case if they are asking, we can apply like this. Like for practice purpose, take one example. Suppose if tan inverse, okay, I am going back, take down. Take down. You know, I have done my 12th. Till 12th, I was in Hindi medium. So my English was not that much good that time because everything was in Hindi. So when I came to engineering, then I had a professor. He is like excellent professor. He was teaching me electrical engineering, and I admire him a lot. And I think I should not take his name because okay. So whenever he used to write on the whiteboard, so because I was from Hindi medium, so I learned one sentence. He used to say take down, and he used to say like this, take down. So from that time, this word came in my mind. Take down means okay, copy down, and like take the notes on in your notebook. Take down, take down. One man down. Okay. One man down, I learned in some video game. IGI. You know there is a game IGI. I used to play this game IGI in 2011. Thank you. IGI game. Okay, take down. One question you take down. If tan inverse, and whenever we used to on Independence Day, because he was my professor only for the one semester for electrical engineering, so whenever we used to call them on Independence Day, that time 15th August, so we call him on stage, and we said, sir, say something. He simply came on stage and he said, work, and then that's all he left. He was very good professor. You know, from he used to bring some small brown color pages, not books, very small pages in his pocket, in his shirt pocket, and they used to be pages like very hard pages. If you'll turn them, they will break. They will not tear, they will break. Very old pages. And he used to remember all the answers of his questions. All the answers. It was in his memory. Everything like. And he taught electrical very good. That's why I'm good in electrical, only because of him. He explained very good. But all the aeronautical or aerospace engineers, they don't have electrical subject, right? But we have done complete electrical because of this ASI format. Take down tan inverse x plus tan inverse y plus tan inverse z is equal to pi by 2. I mean, if this is pi by 2, then xy plus yz plus zx will be option 0, 1, minus 1, pi, e. 5 answers are there. So how can we do this? So we can break in this way. tan alpha plus beta plus gamma value, if you add, your formula used to be tan alpha plus tan beta plus tan gamma minus tan alpha tan beta tan gamma whole divided by 1 minus product of 2 tan alpha tan beta minus tan beta tan gamma minus tan gamma tan alpha. Okay. Now we have to consider this tan inverse x, what is written here. Let tan inverse x is equal to alpha, means what? X is equal to tan alpha. In same way, tan inverse y is equal to beta. So y is equal to tan beta. In same way, tan inverse z is equal to gamma. So z is equal to tan gamma. So this is our assumption, and this is the formula from trigonometry, and with the help of these two things we will break this answer. So if you add alpha beta gamma, it means you are adding tan inverse x, tan inverse y and tan inverse z. It means you will be getting pi by 2. So this guy is nothing but tan pi by 2, and this tan alpha tan beta tan gamma is nothing but x plus y plus z. So that part I can write here x plus y plus z as it is, and here I will be writing product minus xyz divided by 1 minus here xy yz zx, xy yz zx. Okay, now see, what is the value of tan pi by 2? Infinite. What is infinite? 1 by 0, right? It means this guy must be 0. So we got our answer, that 1 minus xy minus yz minus zx must be 0. So from here we can calculate that xy plus yz plus zx is equal to 1. Now one very important part. Because this pi by 2 is nothing but alpha plus beta plus gamma, and alpha beta gamma is nothing but tan inverse x tan inverse y tan inverse z. So in the question it is given that these values if you add you'll be getting pi by 2. So I have replaced pi by 2. Clear? Very good. Okay. Now take one more formula. I'll change the page. Formula. E power x, we know that 1 plus x by factorial 1, x by factorial 1 plus x square 2 by factorial 2 plus x cube by factorial 3 plus x4 by factorial 4. This is the simplest expansion in mathematics. Simplest. So if I will expand e power x value plus e power iy value, so you get my logic, into. This is into. So what is this? This is nothing but e power x plus iy. So it is nothing but e power z, correct? So this value, you can see, one expansion like this I will be getting for e power x, and similar expansion I will be getting for e power iy. But powers, they will be in two different brackets. I hope it's clear. They will be in two different brackets. So what I'm trying to figure out here, we have certain expansions for sin x, we have certain expansions for cos x. So these two expansions, when you will club together like sin x plus I cos x, then only we get e power ix. So if you put theta here, then it will be theta. So how are we converting this into this? It is because of the expansion. Sine expansion, cos expansion I have given. And it is very similar property for hyperbolic function also we have discussed in some, we have not discussed. In one class I discussed hyperbolic function property. That is very small property. That's all here, nothing much to discuss. And now we'll go for other topics. Okay, you take one more thing. You take hyperbolic now itself. Sine hx formula, if you remember, in last class we have given e power x minus e power minus x by 2. Cos hx formula, we read as hyperbolic sine of x, hyperbolic cos of x, like that we read. So e power x plus e power minus x by 2. Take care of this minus sign in sine and plus sign in cos. And in case they are asking for tan hx, then divide both, you will be getting sine hx by cos hx. So that is nothing but this formula by this formula, 2 will get cancelled. So you'll be getting e power x minus x divided by e power x plus e power minus x. Now few functions are convertible. There we need some tricks. So those tricks you mention now itself. Whenever sine x is written, that will be equal to I sine hx. There is something called circular functions. Circular functions and hyperbolic functions relation we convert in this format. So these people are circular functions and these people are hyperbolic functions. So you see here, circular function I am writing in terms of hyperbolic function. Okay, Manimala, you can leave, no problem. You watch later. Now you go for cos ix is equal to cos hx. Then tan ix is equal to I tan hx. I will give you one very good trick. With that trick you will never forget. And if you have sine hix, then purely you have sine I sine x. If you have cos hix, then you have cos x. Very good trick I will give you. You can remember all the formulas. Tan hix is equal to I tan x. Now see, in this table we are converting our circular functions in hyperbolic functions. These people are converting into these people. So one thing is clear. Suppose I am erasing this. I will give you a trick how this trick works. Suppose, just a minute, I am erasing this. Suppose I want to know sine ix formula. So one thing is sure, that you want to convert your circular function into hyperbolic function. It means you want to convert in hx. Only question is, I will come here or not. Only one confusion is there. I will come here or not. Just now I have given you one trick. Whenever you have sine minus theta, then minus will come outside. But whenever you have cos minus theta, then minus will vanish. It will be cos theta. Minus will not come out. So consider this I as a minus sign, then it will help as a trick. You can check out. Right? So, and one more thing, your tan is nothing but sine by cos. So if in sine minus sign comes out, in cos minus sign does not come out, so finally minus sign is coming out. So tan will behave like a sine, so minus sign will come out for tan also, because that is the ratio of both. So if you bother tan minus theta, then it will be minus tan theta, right? So now your trick will work. I hope you got the trick. It means what? If I suddenly ask cos ix convert into hyperbolic, so one thing you write hyperbolic as it is, then you consider this I as minus sign, so minus sign will not come out. So this will be your formula. Same thing. If I'll ask for tan ix, then this is your circular function. You want to convert into hyperbolic function. So convert. After that you think, I will come or not? So yes, I will come. I will come. Okay. Now Pratik, you don't say, sir, you are very cool. I will come. Okay. Now let's understand the second chart. Second chart is also very similar. Suppose if I have to convert cos h I x. Okay. So same concept. You have to convert into simple. You can see here, they are simple trigonometry. Sin x, cos x, tan x. They are simple trigonometry. It means hyperbolic will convert into simple trigonometry, right? So same concept. I will come or not? So in case of cos, I will not come. So this became your formula. If you have sin h I x, simple trigonometry, sin x. No doubt. I will come or not? Of course I will come. Then tan h I x, tan x. I will come or not? I will definitely come. We have lot of formulas. All those formulas, if I will give here, then it will be totally boring. So I will upload on Drive for in the name of hyperbolic function. Those formulas you can just go once. We also have inverse hyperbolic, but no need to go into that. Okay. Now we can go for this part over completely, this part over completely over. Now we are ready for the complex functions. Calculus of complex functions. We have understood complex number now. So actually in complex analysis, they can ask questions in complex number also and complex function also. So complex number got over, and examples or all the concepts over. Now in next class, we will start complex function. You may be knowing we do Cauchy-Riemann equation in that, right? We have done in our basic classes. Then we also calculate analytic function. Then we used to go for some region will be there in the Z plane, and we'll apply some theorem in the region, and we'll try to check the function is harmonic or not. Okay, so I was saying that we have some transformation in this chapter remaining, and after transformation we have complex integration remaining. In complex integration we'll apply Cauchy theorem, and we used to consider contour, and we used to do integration, and we will not do a series of complex terms because that is totally lengthy process. That much they will not ask because it is a special topic. We can go for residue theorem because the residue theorem is very easy. Based on that, they may ask one small question. That's all. Like in complex function, nothing is remaining. So you can consider like mostly like 1 hour class is remaining. So in next class, we will discuss this part completely. Okay, guys, then we'll stop class tonight. Thank you, guys.